Recording got started. Let me share my screen. Yep. Can anyone please confirm is my screen is visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Thank you. So thanks for joining the day 4 of 20 days use case series. So here is the day 4. We are going to have some use cases. So let me introduce myself. This is Pradeep Chinala. So I am having 7+ years of experience in UFR, and I am working for senior consultant for the Wonderbots. And I am the MVP for 2023 and 2024. And I am the active speaker in Hyderabad community chapter and Vizag community chapter. And with me today I have Sai Kiran and Patrodu. They are on other call, so they can't talk now, but they are in the part of entire series with me. So here, let me tell you the awards and recognitions again. We are repeating this one every day, but these things we have to do it every day here. So here, who all are going to submit the use cases, like whichever the use cases we are explaining every day. So from that two use cases, you have to upload one or two use cases in the forum. So who all are upload the use cases, they'll get 5 members will get $70 of UFR swag vouchers and $40 of UFR swag vouchers for 2 members. And who will do the most engaged LinkedIn post, they'll get 4 goodies from Hyperautomation team. So 1 minute, let me start my yeah. So here, this is about the awards and recognition. So here is the participation requirement. So there is no much requirement related to the technical here. So if you are done the certification from the academy, so that certification also free of cost. So if you done the certification and if you are lack of kind of technical presentation in the way of use cases, so you can be the part of here and you can learn some kind of use cases in the real time. And you need to access the orchestrator. In the next couple of sessions, what we are going to do, we are going to establish the connection between the studio to orchestrator to do some kind of use cases. So that's the reason we made it orchestrator as a uh, prerequisites here. So and the submissions. So we know the how the submissions will be. So whichever the WhatsApp group we have it, we are sharing the forum link every day. So what you have to do every day, will post the challenge in the forum. So whichever the thread we are posting it. So just you have to do the replay for it, and you have to upload your use cases, whichever the use cases we have discussed it, and then you have to tag me, Saikiran Pathudu and Lori for starting this particular series. So I hope these above slides are clear. So we are repeating that slides every day. So what we are going to do today? So we are going to cover same as the two use cases, how we are doing every day. So the use cases are like, one is extracting the driver license data using document understanding, and one more thing is extracting the movie information and storing it into the Excel file. So these two use cases we are going to cover it today. So without doing any delay, let me open my use case document. Yeah, I hope everyone can see my Word document. Let me confirm in the chart.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So here is the document. So this is the use case we are going to do it today. So let me open the input file of this file use case. So here we have two driving license. So from using UFR document understanding, what we need to do. So we have to extract some data from this particular driving license. So you can able to see the here is one of the driving license, and here you can see one more. So these are the driving licenses from US. So what we have to do, we have to read couple of values from here, like the first name, last name, or date of birth, or some kind of issue date. So these are the details we are going to read it using document understanding. So what I am going to do now. So here, so for reading this particular data, what I am going to do, I am going to use the document understanding model. The model name is called as a ID cards. So when you navigate to the DU, so let me go to the document understanding. When you go to the AA center, and when you go to the AA center, we have one of the model is pre-built model is available. So just I'll go here. Then if you go to the packages, out of the box models and document understanding. So here we can see one of the model that is called as ID cards. So let me, yeah, here is the model. So using this model, what we are going to do, so we are going to read the data of whichever the driving licenses we have it. So how we can implement it? So we are going to implement it something today, whichever the model we have it in the AA center. We are calling that AA center model using our document understanding framework and extracting the data without doing much coding. So let me start the uh, development for it. So I am going to create a new project here. So keeping it as a driving license extract. So let it load. In the meantime of loading, let me explain you about the document understanding in the high level. So document understanding is one of the product we have it. So using that product, what we can do, we can extract the data from images, or we can extract the data from PDF, or we can extract the data of native or scanned documents also. So when you are using document understanding, we have a couple of standards like how we have it in the RE framework. So if you think about the RE framework, we have four states, right? Init, get transaction data, process, and end process. So in the same way, when you are working on the document understanding, we have phases. The phases are, let me open the notepad and I'll explain it. So the first one is taxonomy, and the second one is uh, digitization, classification, extraction, validation, and export. So these are the phases we have to follow when you are going to use the document understanding. So these all the phases are not mandatory. So if you want to skip any of the phase, if it is not required, we can skip that. So the taxonomy phase is used to create a template. The template means whichever the values you are going to read it. So let me showcase the image once again. Let me open the input file once again. So when you see this ID card, so we have to read couple of values from here, right? So the first name, last name, or other details. So if you are going to read this data, means where you are going to store it. So the storage, the fields will be identified in the taxonomy. So we need to mention that particular fields in the taxonomy. Then doing the digitization means converting that particular image data to the machine readable data. So that can be happen in the digitization. And the classification, so if you are having driving license or invoice or receipt, if you want to do the classification, we have to do the classification. But whichever the use case we are doing it now, it's not recommended, because we know whichever the two input documents we have it, these two documents are related to the driving license or driving license only. And extraction means extracting the data from the driving license, then validating the data. So whichever the data got extracted using UiPath, just we need to come check the data using a human validation, then exporting it into the Excel file. So this is the high level we are going to do it today. So let me open the uh, studio. So here, the first thing what we have to do as per our framework, the first thing we have to do it is a taxonomy, right? To do the taxonomy should be present in the studio. But when you observe here, so there is no taxonomy. So for that, what we have to do, we have to download one of the package. The package name is called as a intelligent OCR activities. So I'm going to the all packages, then intelligent OCR activities. So let me install it. So see here, there is no taxonomy for now. So you can observe it after once I install this particular package. So whichever the model we are going to use it, that model is already pre-built in UA path out of the box team. So see, now we can see the taxonomy manager, right? So what we are going to do it now. So we are going to create the fields for it. So here is the place where we have to create the fields. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a group. The group name is ID cards. Then I'm going to give the category as a driver license. Then the document type as we can say these the driving licenses from US. So what I'm going to do, just I'll make it as a US. Okay. So here I am clicking on the save. So this is the one we have created now. So once it is created, what I am going to do, so I need to create some fields, right? So like whichever the fields you want to read it from the particular document. So particular driving licenses, whichever the fields you want to read it. So just I'll mention few of the fields here. So the field, the first name is the first. I'll give it as a first name. First name and the field name is it will the type is text I am giving, and the next one is last name, and again I am going to give the field type is text, and I can give date of birth DOB, and I can read the data using text itself, and the next one I can give is I can say sex. This is also I can give it in the way of text format. So just for we can read multiple values from using this particular document, whichever the documents we have it, like the issue date or the height, weight, or some kind of license number. So we can read multiple things here, but as per the time constraint, I'm going to read only four values. So when you are doing the use case, try to read it much values. So now I'm going to close it. So see the taxonomy manager. So just I'm trying to open it again to see the values, whichever the values were created is present or not. Yes, so whichever the fields we have created, that particular fields were present here. So next what I am going to do. So just I am going inside the folder of whichever the project we have created, and this particular folder got created now. So just at 7:41 p.m. and when I open it, we can see the taxonomy. So whichever the things you have created, so that can be available here. So when you see, so ID cards, driving license, first name and the last name, and here you can see the date of birth, and here you can see the sex. So like whichever the fields you have created, that fields will be reflected here. So next thing, what I am going to do. So whichever the project we have created, in that particular project, we need some inputs, right? So I have one of the folder that is called as a data. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this particular folder and I'll keep it in our project folder to extract the data. So I have the data folder now. So I have input inside that I have two files. So let me start the project. So let me go with the flowchart. Okay. So first thing what we have to do before going to the extracting. So what first we need to call the taxonomy. So to call the taxonomy, we need to use one of the activity that is called as a load taxonomy activity. So just I'm going to use drag and drop here. So when you do the double click, so there is no input for it. So there is no input parameter for it. We have to give only output. You may get a doubt where is the input for it. So the input is present in our folder itself. So just now we have seen it, right? So whichever the document processing folder got created, inside we have one of the taxonomy JSON file. So that is the taxonomy.json. So this is the input for this particular load taxonomy. Here just we need to create a variable for it. So I am going to create a taxonomy variable. So I clicked on control K and I created a variable for it. So as of now we are good. Good to go with that taxonomy as per our notepad, as per our phases of document understanding. The first phase is done. And then what we need to do, the second phase is digitization. For the digitization, we have to pass the file, right? To pass the file, we need to read the files, right? So that's the reason I'm going with the assign activity to read the files from the folder, whichever the folder we have kept it. So assign. So here what I'm going to write, I'm going to write directory dot get files, and where we are having the data, we have the data in the data. Then inside that we have input folder, and in the input folder we have I am giving the data as a dynamic, so it can read the data of any of the files. Then I am adding the data to the list. Okay, let me create one of the variable for it. Input files. Okay. So okay, still I got an error here. So the error is a list of string. So let me check. The input files is string here. So let me convert it into the list of string. Okay, generic list. Then I am converting it to the string. So what it will do, the list will store the all the file names. So whichever the files we have it. Then again, what I'm going to do. So I have to, we have two files, right? We have to do the looping. So that's the reason I am taking one more assign activity to start the looping. So I'll take 0 and I'll go with the loop counter. I'll make it as a loop counter to store the value of 1. So the loop counter should be integer. Okay. Yeah. So we got the files and we can pass the looping using this assign activity. For that, we need one of the decision. So let me add the decision box here. So I'm going to add the flow decision here for the condition perspective. Okay, the condition, what I am going to write, the loop counter, what is the loop counter value is 0, and the loop counter is less than input file dot count, right? So when the value is less than of the count, then only the process will go to the true, otherwise it will stop the process. Okay, so then what I am going to do, so okay, once you got the file, okay, the loop counter is 0 and the value of the files is 2, so it will come to the true phase, right? True part it will come. So here what I am going to do, I am going to use the remaining phases of document understanding. The next one is digitization. So when you type the digitization here, so you will get the digitized document. So I'll keep it here. For the digitized document, we need to pass the parameters. The parameters is document path. So we got the documents in the input files as a list. So I am going to pass a loop counter. So the loop counter value is 0. So the input files of 0 will give the first file, and the loop counter, when the loop counter increase, input files of 1 will give the second file, right? So I'm giving the file here, and I'm using the control K for creating the variable of doc text, and I need to create one more variable as output, that is doc down. Okay. So, and let me check is anything is required for the digitization. Yes, we need API key for using the document understanding OCR. Where we'll get the API key? So let me navigate to the AA center. So this is my studio. So let me go to here, and when I go to the admin, so let me go to the admin. So here in the admin, so you can see the licenses. So when you go to the consumables, we can see this is the API key. I'm going to use it. So if anyone wants to use the API key, let me share the API key in the chat so that you can also use my API key. So I am sharing the API key so that you can use the API key. Let me go to a couple of questions. So the label center, it's not required for us. So if you are new to document understanding also, it's fine. It's very basic concept we are going to cover today. For unstructured doc, can we skip the taxonomy? No. Whichever the documents, if you are using the structured or unstructured, we have to read the data, right? So few of the labels, we have to read it from that particular document, right? So we have to mention the bot. So whichever the fields, we are going to read it. The recording will get it after few days. So it's taking few days of time to get it load. So that's the problem with recording we have. Let me go to the code again. So okay, so we got the API key. So let me what I'm going to do. So I'm using my API key here. So done. So that is the digitization part also done. So after we have to do the classification, but as per our requirement, we know we have only two documents, and the two documents are driving licenses only. So we no need to do the classification. So I am directly jumping into the extraction. So I am using the data extraction scope here. Then I have to pass some values. The document path is input files of loop counter. And here we have created the taxonomy variable earlier, and the doc text we have created earlier, and doc term we have created earlier, and the document type ID. So where we'll get the document type ID. So I am going into the project document understanding. Here we can see document type ID. So I want to copy this one, and I'll paste it here. Okay. So here, which extractor you want to use it to extract the data. So we are using the ML extractor now to extract the data. So we have machine learning extractor. So I'm going to use the same machine learning extractor here. So here the API key. So what we have to do, we have to update our API key with this one. So let me copy my API key again, and I am going to copy the value here. Endpoint. So I will share you the endpoint also for it. So whenever here is the endpoint, you will get it. So this is the URL. So for all the models, you will get the endpoint. So this is the ID cards we are going to use it, and this is the endpoint for it. Okay. So I am going to share this particular URL so that this one will get as a reference for you. So which classifier we want to use? So we are not going to use any classifiers for now because it's not required to do the classification for us. So we are good. So machine learning extractor, we have used it and the API we passed it. Let me configure the extractor. So when you are configuring the extractor, we have one symbol here. So just we need to do the tick mark and we have to click on the drop down. See here, we have first name, last name, and the DOB, date of birth, and sex, right? So for that, we have couple of fields. So basically, the thing is, this particular model is already pre-built, right? So when the model is pre-built, it is capable of reading couple of fields without doing the labeling, right? So we'll see which are the fields it can be extracted by default. So these are the fields our out of the box model will read by default. The first name, so we have first name field. Last name, the last name field we have it. Date of birth, I can go with the day, birth date, and the sex we can see here. Yeah, we got it. So I'm clicking on OK. Let me showcase that Excel file. So in here, when you go to the document understanding, so this is for endpoints of all the all the models, and so see it got downloaded one file here. Let me open that file. So this is the model we are going to use it, document understanding one. So see the ID cards. When you go to the ID card, these are the fields our model can read by default. So if you go to the invoice signer, so these are the details will read it by default. If you go with the invoices India, so these are the fields it will read by default. So today we are going with the ID card. So these are the fields it can be read by default. But in that we are going to use as per our session, we are going to use last name, first name, birth date, and sex. So if you want to use all these fields also, that's fine. You have to create the taxonomy for all these fields and then you have to map it here. So just click on the configure extractor, then you have to click on this particular drop down, then you can able to see all the fields which we have created in the taxonomy and you can see the drop down. So here we are doing the mapping for it. Okay. So the extraction also done. So let me create a variable for it. Extraction results. Okay. So the extraction also done. Next, what we have to do? We have to do the validation. So let's just I am going with the present validation station. In the present validation, this is the doc path. Okay. I can give doc. Sorry, doc path should be the input files of loop counter. And the next one is doc text. We have created in the digitization. This is doc down, and here we can see taxonomy, and here automatic extraction results, which are the details we got extracted from the extraction results, and this is validation results. Just I created the variable here. So then So extraction also done. The validation also done. So next thing what we have to do, just we have to export the data, right? So let me use export extraction results. So I'll do connection for it. So here I am passing the extraction results. Then I am using the data set. Just I am creating the data set. So in extraction results, it will give the data in the format of a data set. So I am creating the value variable as a data set. So okay, we got the data. So next thing what we have to do. So once we got the data extracted, so what we have to do, we have to export that data into the Excel file, right? So I'll use right range here. Where is that right range? Right range workbook I can use. So we need to pass the values here. So data table is data set dot tables of 0. So it will convert this particular data set to the data table format, and we can use the sheet name as driver license, and the Excel sheet name we can use something like input files of loop counter dot to string. So it will give 0 or 1. So what I'll do before that, I'll add output. Okay. We have to give the extension. The extension is dot xlsx. Okay, we have created the right range also for it. Then what we have to do, we have to do the looping right here. We have not done the looping yet. So what I am going to do, I am going to use one more assign activity. I can use it here, and I'll make it. I'll make it loop counter is equal to loop counter plus 1, because it should increase the value, right, to get the next file. So I'm going to increase it, and I am going to check the value again here. So it will check the value here. Then again, based on the condition, it will go here, right? So let me run this workflow. So if we get any issues, we'll see. So the bot is started executing. See, so we have not identified where is the data, but we got all the data here. So the document type is US, as we mentioned. So that will be under ID cards, driving license, and US, which we have provided in taxonomy. And the first name, when you click on the first name, see the first name got extracted. When you click on the last name, so the last name got extracted. When you see the date of birth, the date of birth got extracted here. And when you see the sex, so the value field got extracted here. So this is the way we'll get it. So this is how we'll get the values. So if you want to read any other values also, we can get it. So let me add one more field here. So which field we can use? So I'll go to the document only, Excel. So whichever the fields we have it here. So ID number we can go. So we'll see with the ID number. So what I am going to do. So this is all the details were correct. I am going to do the submit, save. And here is the one more file. So it picked the second file also. Let me do the submit here. Okay, it's done. So let me go into the project folder and we'll see is that particular files got created or not. So I think let me refresh it. Output data. Here the data should become in the output.xlsx. Let me check folder. Let me refresh it here. I think there is no data present here. Let me check again. Let me rerun. So what I'll do, I'll add one more field in the taxonomy. So I'll tell you how to add the fields more. So as we discussed, we are going to add one more field. The field name is ID number, and the ID number also I'm going to give it as a text only, and click on the save. So once you have done the change here, next thing where we need to do the change. So again, we need to do the change in the extraction scope. Just double click on the extraction scope and go to the configure extractor and click on this particular drop down. So earlier we have 4 fields. Now we got one more field. Just I am going to mapping it. So the ID number I am going to pass it here. So let me save. So the next thing what I am going to do, once you got exported the data, so I'm going to save the data here. So what I'll do, I'll use variable as same variable here. So whichever the data we got extracted, it will be stored here. Then let me rerun the code. See, so without doing anything, we got the ID number also. So let me save the data. And see, we got ID number. So here is the ID number. Then I'll do the save. So then let me go to the folder. The file should be created here. So let me debug it once why it's not creating the file. So right range. Properties, I'll go with the add headers. There is the data set. Let me rerun it again. Just I'm doing the submit. Yeah. Let me go check my chart window. Is there any questions or not? Yeah. So OCR confidence and export results are different. So whenever you are extracting the data, so how much confidence you are extracting it. So some of the fields like what we have done now. So when you run the code, so you can see the information, right? Whichever the information we got extracted, it's 100% extracted. So when it is 100% extracted, we no need to do the validation, right? So that's the case. You can skip the validation. So that in that case, we can use the confidence. So let me check one more time. Where is that input file, output file? So this is output. This is not a folder. I am creating it. Input files of loop counter. Let me do it this way. And here I'll give loop count input files of loop counter. So here I'll keep the debug mode, then we'll run it once. Okay, let me type it here. Data set dot tables of 0. See, we got the data here. So this data should be come into the file. Right, and workbook cannot any following characters. Okay, workbook is having some name format issue, so that's the reason it's not giving the values. Let me check once again. What is the name we have given to it? This one. Output.xlsx itself. Or we can do one thing, just I am going to create one Excel file here. Then I can pass the value file name to that one so that we can get the values there. Excel. It's not mandatory to pass the file in that way. By default, the bot should pick that file. But as of now, we are doing it in this way. So here we are passing the data table and here we are passing the file. Okay. Worksheet name. So let me check the sheet name, whichever the sheet name we have provided. Input files of loop counter. Okay, it's giving the entire file name. That's the reason we are not getting the data. So here what we need to do, just I'll give the data as loop counter, then it will work. So it will give the values as a 0 or 1, loop counter dot toString. So I want to submit here. So it got exported the data there. Okay, let me go to the project folder now. We are having the Excel sheet here. So the one is sheet one, we got the data. And this is a sheet one, it got created by default. So I think the next one is in the progress. The execution not done yet. Yes. So now when you go to the folder inside, we have output. We have two sheets. One is 0, and based on the loop counter we got it. This is a 0 data, and this is a 1 data. So this is how we have to extract the data from the ID cards. So if you have any questions, let me clarify it in the chart. Then we'll go with the next use case. So what if the document is rotated 90 degrees? Yes, if it is rotated by 90 degrees also, our ML model can able to read the data. So this is related to the output folders. Would like yes, I'll teach you one more session on extracting the data from tabular data, like kind of line items. Yeah. So let me go with the next use case. The next use case is, so this is pretty much easy use case, I can say. So here what we are going to do, we are going with the RPA challenge, and we are searching the name, and let me showcase. This is the RPA challenge. And when you go to the movie search, if you search for any of the movie, so if you are search for the triple R, so you'll get some data, right? So from this, I'm going to click on the triple R, and I'm going to read extracting this data, and I'm going to store it in the I'm going to store it in the Excel. So this is the one I'm going to do it right now. So for this, I am going to create one more flowchart, extracting movie data. So it won't take much time. We can close it as soon as possible here. So first what I'll do, I'll take the activity. So that is kind of input dialog. So using input dialog, we can ask the user to get the movie name. So just I'll use this to get the data from the user. So I can write it as enter movie name, and this is movie name, and we are going with the text box, and the output will be stored in the movie name variable. Okay. So the next thing what we have to do, we have to go with the use browser activity, and we have to open the RPA challenge, right? So I'm going to connect these particular dots, and here, so just I'm going to use RPA challenge. So by default, it will select the URL. So what you have to do, you have to go with the till this particular point. Okay. So I selected till RPA challenge here. So, and I want to take this particular browser as a Chrome. Input mode, open. Yep. I think by default, it will open it in the Chrome. We'll see. Then what we have to do, we have to go with we have to click on the movie search option, right? So if you go to the RPA challenge, this is the first home page. So once from the home page, we have to click on the movie search. So I'm going to use click activity. So this is a classic activity. So let me go with the modern. So we can do the automation in any way. That's fine. So here is click on the movie search and do the confirm. Then what we have to do, then we have to enter the movie name, right? So I'll use type into. So here is the type into. So just I'll do the type into in the movie search box. So here is the box. I'll click on it and I'll do the confirm here. And here what I'm going to do, I'm going to pass the movie name. So let me run once. We'll see how the bot execution is working. Then we have to do the click again for doing the find. So here, when you click on the movie name, we have to click on the find, right? So I am using the click button again, then clicking on the find. Okay, confirm. So let me keep the breakpoint and let me check. So will it be working or not? So movie name, I'll enter some Bahubali. So let me open the browser. Is it entered the values or not? So yes, it is entered the value here. Bahubali. Let me go to the next. So I clicked on the next. So let me see. Yeah, it's navigating to that page. Then after that, what we have to do? We have to click on this Bahubali. Then we have to extract the data of it. So for that, I am going to do the automation now. So here I am going to use the click again. So I got a classic. So anything is fine. So whenever you want to use, so you can use the combination of both, or you can use the modern, or you can use the classic. So I'm going to click here. So let me check the selector. Okay. So let me do the validate. Highlight is done. So I can able to do. Then what I have to do, I have to get the data using get text activity. In the get text activity, we have to extract the data. So I am going to use the get text activity. So using function F2, so I'm keeping the hold of 5 seconds. So in the meantime, I can navigate to that page. So here I'm going to read the data. Okay. So whichever the data we are going to read it, we have to store it in one of the variable, right? So I'm going to keep it as a control K movie description. Okay. So movie description, and I want to see the data, how the data is coming. Message box. Just let me use the message box. So here I'll use the movie description variable. Then let me run the bot. So I'll enter triple R again. We'll see. So we have a breakpoint, so it got stopped in the middle. So everything is working in the backend. So yes, triple R. So we got some data. the fictional history of two legendary. So this data about that particular movie. So here what I'm going to do, so this is only for reading the one movie, right? So if I want to read one by one movie based on the user input, so for that what I need to do, and whichever the data we are extracting it here, I need to store the data in any one of the Excel file. So for that what we can do, so here we can use one build data table activity. Build data table is used to store the data in the format of data table. So for that, I can create uh, two columns. One is movie name and one is movie description. I'll change the format. I'll convert it into the string. Okay. So then we have to give the output variable for the data table. So this is movie info. I can give the prefix as a DT as it's a data table. Okay, so whichever the data table we have created, so in the browsing use browser, we are extracting the data, right? So here is the place I am going to use add data row. So what it will do, it will add each data row, whichever the data we are extracting, that data will be going into the data table. So that data will accept it in the array format. So I'm going to give movie name, comma, movie description, and the data table is dt movie info. Okay, I am passing the data here. So the next thing is we have to go with the condition, right? So if you want to take the next movie, how we are going to do that? So for that, I use message box, and in the message box we have properties. So we can use this message box as buttons also. So yes or no. So and the title. Uh, do you want to go for one more movie name? Uh, here movie name. So just I'm going to give the value here. So and the value will be, let me save it. Uh, User value. So user is going to give the value here. So then what I'm going to do. So what it will give the value in the format of yes or no, as we have given. We have selected yes or no. So if you want to give the one more movie name, then what we have to do, we have to go with the decision. Let me go with the decision here. Okay, decision. So here what I'm going to write it as a condition. User value is dot equals yes. So if it is yes, what we need to do. So if it is true, then we have to read the data, right? If it is a true, then we need to read the data. So again, I'm going with the input dialog. So it will ask the data for it. So if it is no, means we are enough to read the data. So at that time, what I am going to do, I am going to use right range again, right range workbook, and I'm going to add it here, the right range, and I'm going to write it here as a movie list dot xlsx, and the sheet name will be movie info, and the data table we have created the dt movie info. and I'm going to use properties as add headers. So let me run it once. So we'll see. So how this particular automation will work. So the compiling is going on now. Okay, it's asking for the movie name. I'll give Bahubali first. Then I'll click on the OK. So it's searching the data and extracted the data. So it's asking for, do you want to go for the one more movie name? I'll click on yes. And again it's asking. So I'll go with the triple R. So it's extracting the data of triple R. Again, if you want to go, then I'll click OK. Then I'll do something Ryan movie. So we'll see. So okay, we got that movie information here. So movie name. So as of now, I am good. So I extracted three movies details with the same workflow which we have created. Then I'll click on the no. So the execution got stopped here. So let me go to the project folder. We'll check for the movies list. So this is the Excel got created now. So just created at 8:32. So let me open the file. See, so we got the movie names. The movie name is Bahubali, Triple R, or Ryan, and the movie description about it. So this is how. So this is the way we can handle the dynamic text using UiPath. So here is the two use cases we have covered. So one is for reading the dynamic information, like clicking on the dynamic buttons and storing it in the Excel file. And one more thing is extracting the data from a driving license and adding storing the data into the Excel file. So we are good with the use cases. Let me see, is there any questions? Can we use any ML skill from AI Center? Yes, you can use it. So we have multiple out of the box models were available. So you can use any of the model based on your available based on your proper data. Like whichever the file we have it, we have the driving license. So we have used the ID card model, right? So if you are getting the invoices, then you have to go with the invoice model. If you are getting the receipt, then we have to go with the receipt model. So that is the way we have to pick the model. The poor quality, so if the quality is poor, then we'll get the low confidence, right? So when you are getting the low confidence, you can call the human in the loop, so the human can do the validation as how we have done in the present validation station, and we can do that. So I hope everyone is clear with the use cases. So I'm going to create a forum thread today, and I'll share it in the WhatsApp link so that you can join in that particular forum challenge, and you can submit your challenges. So before wrapping up, just I want to take a pic with the video. Let me make everyone as a moderator. So who all are the moderators here? Please do the moderator of others. I can do few of the members here. So who all are got the moderator access? Just do the moderator for others.
Yeah, I'm also doing it parallelly. So all of one common question I've seen is like where I can get the recordings. Yeah, actually, it was there in control of UiPath team. So we need to get hold of those things. Once we get those information, we would like to share it across. Thanks for understanding that, but we would like to share it once as early as possible. We have got those. Okay. And one thing, like Deep, you have utilized AI center models, right?
Yes, it is one of the
So
out of the.
uh, AI center might not be available if you are utilizing community versions. That's the reason I think even Pradeep has shared the API key, so we can also post it in the thread. Please use it wisely. If not, we would like to just see that.
Let me share the endpoint also, so
Huh.
that you can use my API key and the endpoint of ID cards. So here is the endpoint. So already I shared the key. So I'll share these details in our WhatsApp group also. So Saikiran, is it possible to share the WhatsApp group link here so that if anyone wishes to join that group, they'll join in that group.
Yes, I'll be sharing it. Meanwhile, just give me one moment. You can just
Yeah.
take the pic also. Just give me one.
I'll stop sharing of my screen. Once Saikiran is back, we can take a pic.
Yeah, I think I've also pasted the group information. There's a WhatsApp group. If you are missing this particular group, you can just utilize these things. Join this group.
Saikiran, is it possible to turn on your video? Yeah. Let me take a pic.
Yes, I've done it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's that. Yeah. Thanks for joining the sessions every day. So we'll catch up again tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Pradeep.
you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone. Any other queries or not, you can just ping us.